Oh, it might be. Good morning and welcome to Unity Spiritual Center Saxe this July 26, 2020. Let's prepare ourselves for service. Let's take a deep breath. Inhaling deeply, exhaling fully. Breathing in life and exhaling all that does not serve us. Breathing in ease and grace. Letting go of obligations, labels, judgments, responsibilities, everything that is outside of ourselves, things to which we are attached. Just let it all go. Just let yourself become aware of your beingness, your inner core, the foundation of our lives, which is Source, Spirit, God, love, peace, joy, prosperity, vibrant health. We are one life, one breath, one creation, ever expanding. Continue to breathe deeply. Letting your inner knowingness, your inner awareness of spirit to expand and grow and open. Just let yourself sink down, knowing that who and what you are is divine. Nothing else matters. Nothing else matters. Let's breathe in together. Inhale. Hold it at the top for a second or two, and then exhale fully. And as we breathe together, we feel our oneness, our connection. Our energy. Continue to breathe, relaxing body, mind, spirit, and heart. And from this place, from this knowingness, we now sing our centering song, Spirit's Prayer.
Loving Spirit dwells in me. This is my divinity. As within, so without. All I need is here and now. Where there's air, let me love. May I have no fear. All the power, all the glory, I surrender, let it be. Loving Spirit dwells in me, now and evermore. Loving Spirit dwells in me, This is my divinity. As within, so without. All I need is here and now. Where there's air, let me love. May I have no fear. All the power, all the glory, I surrender, let it be. Loving Spirit dwells in me, now and evermore.
And now, before we proceed into our children's blessing, we bring into our hearts and into our minds all the children in our community and all the children around the world. So let's recite together. Children of light, we see you guided and directed by an inward spirit that leads you into the path that is right for you. We see you strong and whole. We see you blessed and prospered. We see you courageous and confident. We see you as the spiritually perfect beings you truly are. Children of light, we bless you. Our inspiration moment today is from Unity's Daily Word, and our affirmation is, I affirm truth for everyone I hold in prayer. I am honored by the trust people place in me when they ask for prayer support. As I pray for others, I see each one for whom I pray as divine and know the truth that each one is a living expression of God. My purpose in prayer is not to focus on the particulars of a situation, but to hold a higher view. As I center in prayer, I hold the vision that all challenging circumstances are moving toward a satisfying resolution in one way or another. I release all thoughts about the situation that prompted the prayer need, and focus on the activity of God. As I pray, I see the life, the love, the wisdom, and the power of God at work, healing, strengthening, and establishing peace in all those for whom I pray. Let's affirm together 3 times. I affirm truth for everyone I hold in prayer. I affirm truth for everyone I hold in prayer. I affirm truth for everyone I hold in prayer.
Sometimes some things are best left alone. Oh, sometimes someone will feel your soul. But today it's too far away to touch the truth. Oh, someday, some say, love will find you. Won't you come around? Won't you come around? I want to see you smile. Even behind your mask. Won't you come around? Won't you come around? I'm gonna meet you there. Gonna meet you there. Won't you come around? Come around. I wanna see you. I wanna see you. I wanna see you smile. La la la. Oh, someday, some say, love will find you.
There is a TV show on Netflix called Married at First Sight. And thousands of people go through a rigorous interview process and evaluation in order to be matched with someone that they're very compatible with on several different levels. And a team of experts matches them and says, we think these people would be very good for each other based upon background, what their needs and wants are in relationships. They're evaluated by a sexologist, a psychologist, and a spiritual advisor, and they ask them all kinds of questions. And then two people and their family and friends get married, but they don't meet each other until they're on the altar getting ready to say, I do. Yeah, wow. And you kind of wonder, for those of us who are married, sometimes we have challenges even when you know the person. Imagine the challenges as if you didn't know who you were marrying. But what I find interesting, and maybe this is true of all weddings, of course we have the vows, and two people are standing before each other saying, I promise this to you, I promise that to you. And I've started paying attention to the vows on Married at First Sight, and they're all glowing and wonderful, and I'm a sucker for a love story and vows, and they're up there, and their eyes are shining, and they're smiling at each other, and I'm verklempt the whole time. But I listen to them now, and then I compare the vows to what starts to happen once life gets real. And so just like Raheem sang just now in that recording, I want to make you smile. I will be your best friend. I will have your back always. I will be there for you, and I will give you all that I am. And we will be here for each other, and we will always be together from here until now, because I'm vowing the best of all that I am for you today, tomorrow, and always. And then as you watch episode after episode, things start to crumble. Because it's easy sometimes to stand up and say the vow, to make the promise, to dedicate yourself until you get in the thick of things and you've got to make the vow come to life. It's hard to make the vows come to life and decide that I'm still going to do this even when it doesn't look so pretty, even when we're not in front of our loved ones with all of the decorations and the prettiness and the gowns and the tuxedos, and we're all feeling pretty and feeling nice and feeling open. When life gets real, sometimes the vows start to slip away. We all make promises sometimes, and I think of this 100 days journey to the secret place as something we see and we say yes to, just like anything that we promise, any vow that we make. We say yes in the beginning, not knowing what the journey's going to look like. Now that we're in day 15, life may have started to happen. And the vow and the promise that we made in the beginning that I'm going to do this may not be so easy. Stuff is coming up for me now on the journey. I have hypoglycemia, and so I need to eat on a schedule. And it used to be that I could wake up in the morning and go without eating for about 2 hours, sometimes 3, depending on how late I ate the day before. So something has happened recently that my body no longer tolerates that. I need to eat at least a snack as soon as I get up, which has gotten in the way of meditation first in the morning, because I like to roll out of bed, start my quiet routine, go out in the backyard to my meditating place or someplace in the house and meditate first thing before anything else happens. And then my day just rolls, and it's more peaceful. But it's more difficult for me to get into a meditative state, to be quiet and make this brain quiet down if I have already started a few things. So if I eat a full breakfast and then have to meditate, and I want to do my yoga, sometimes I'm working out. Sometimes I go and I do a few things around the house. My brain's already thinking about all the things I have to do. And it's harder and harder. And so there are some days I don't meditate until before I go to bed, or sometimes in the evening. A couple of days ago, I meditated at 3 in the afternoon because I just made myself stop and go do it, because I made the vow to myself to do it. And it doesn't matter that life has gotten in the way, that suddenly my body didn't get the memo that I want to do this in the beginning of my day. And so I've had to be flexible. I've had to be flexible. And when we make vows, when we make promises, sometimes it requires us to be flexible so that we can stay true to what it is we said we were going to do. I wish my body would cooperate. And there are some days I've been able to go ahead and meditate and then eat, but I haven't always felt my best when I decided to do that. So I've had to be flexible. I've had to decide some days, am I going to still meditate at 11:30 at night or 11:45 before midnight so I can get it done today? And there are a couple of days I've slid in under the wire so I could meditate that day and keep my vow. Before I made the vow, I may not have done that. I've always been good at keeping my promises to other people. I have not always been good at keeping promises to myself. Making a vow to myself and saying, this is what I'm doing for me, for my spiritual life, for my physical life, for my mental health, my emotional health. Because nobody's watching what we say we're going to do for us. I may not have shared that. And so we can sometimes fool ourselves or say, well, it doesn't really matter. But it does matter, the promises we make to ourselves. All vows count. And they especially count when it's time to make it work, when stuff isn't working, when life gets real. When our spouse shows up, it's something other than what we would like. When the going gets tough. When it's hard to stay in. I've been thinking about the power of strength quite a bit this week, because some stuff is happening where strength has been required. Mental strength, emotional strength. There was emotional upheaval, and it was big. And I thought, do I still keep the promises I made to myself for this day, even though I have emotional upheaval? What do you do with that? How do you be flexible in the moment, especially with something like that, with something huge that can derail us? How do you continue to say yes? And I think on one hand, it's a choice. Will you say to yourself, yes, this is important. I made a vow. I made a commitment. I said I was going to do something. I was going to be somewhere, whether it's for me or for someone else. Am I still going to fulfill that? So it's a choice, yes or no. And when we say yes, I'm still going to fulfill the promise, then we have to decide, what does it look like to still fulfill what we said we were going to fulfill? So if I am extremely emotional, but I now have to set my brain to a task and focus on something, what do I do with the emotion? So we have to make choices in the moment sometimes, just like that. What's going to happen? Or do we make room? Do we choose to make room and say, maybe I'll cancel one thing and call somebody and say, look, I can't be there at this time. Can we do it at a different time? Do you want to rearrange things to make space for the things you need to make space for? That is a way of still honoring our commitment. Or do we want to find the strength, a different kind of strength that says, I can do both. I can be emotional, I can feel what I have to feel, and find some way to focus. I think when it's time for us to fulfill a vow, that's especially the time that we need to remember who and what we are. Because immediately I knew in my humanness, in all of my emotion, that I didn't feel like I had what it took to get through the day. In fact, I was wondering if I was going to get through the next 5 minutes. I was wondering about the next 5 minutes. And some days it's like that, isn't it? What do I do with the next 5 minutes? And maybe you're sitting like a hot mess in the middle of things, in the thick of stuff that happens. And I think that's when it's good to take a breath. It's good to remember your vow. And how do I fulfill this vow still? How do I still do this? How do I still be true to what I said I was going to do? On this television show, it's interesting to watch the couples dealing with themselves and each other. You know, we have this part of the brain, the reptilian brain, which governs and controls that part of us that needs choices to be made, often instantaneously, about our self-preservation. And when we're in relationships, sometimes we get signals that perhaps we're in danger, our heart's in danger. Somebody's going to break my heart. And so we self-sabotage, or we start behaving in a way so that we protect ourselves in the relationship. But if we're going to protect ourselves, sometimes we end up breaking a vow or a promise we've made. so many things to think about when we've made a promise to ourselves or someone else, especially these promises we make to ourselves. How do you show up for you? And in a journey like this, that's long, 100 days, it's long in some respects and quick in other respects, because we know here we are now at the end of July. When did that happen? Right? The summer is almost gone. So in some respects, 100 days feels like it goes really, really quickly. Other times, especially when we're thinking about our commitment, a daily commitment, 100 days is a long time. We're wondering how we're going to stick in there. So this is day 15. We got 85 more days. We're beyond, I think, the space where we just said yes to this. Now, this is the time where we say, am I really in this? Am I really in? Because there may be some of us who have already quit or already have missed a day of meditation. And that's okay. Don't kick yourself about it. This is a time for learning, a time to be open, a time to discover new things about yourself. And if you have missed a day, I say recommit. You can start at day 1 again today. And your 100 days can go past October 20. It's up to you. It doesn't really matter. What matters is what you promise to yourself. This promise to yourself is not just about you, but it's also about your relationship with the divine. The space that you want it to create, the secret place of the Most High. This consciousness that you've made a commitment to build and to expand. And so if you've already missed a day, don't worry about it. Don't throw the vow out. Recommit. Come back again. Make the promise to yourself again. And decide 85 days is still phenomenal. The numbers don't matter. 85, 90, 93, who cares? What matters is the commitment. What matters is that you be true to something and create something for your life. And decide what that looks like. Sure, we can scrap it all and say, oh, couldn't do it. I knew it. Some of the couples on this television show, a few of them, and I think these were the couples that were the most successful. Of course, not all of them are. Most of them are not. Because it's a hard thing. It's a hard thing to go from single to married to somebody you don't know. Doesn't matter how well matched the experts think you are. None of that matters when you're in the thick of things. But the two couples, I think there were two, over a few seasons that were most successful were the ones who went back and said, I promise that to you. I'm going to make this right. I know I fell short, but I know what I promised you, and I will do what I promised. They recommitted in the moment. They recommitted and said, I vowed to make this work. I stood before you and my friends and family and said that I would give you my life and share my life with you. Yes, I recommit. I'm sorry for what I did. And they kept recommitting every day. And I think we talked about this last week. This is a recommit every day. This is 100 single days. 100 single days. And every day you get to get up in the morning and say, I'm doing this again. Yes, again. Yes, I made a vow. Yes, I made a promise. Yes, this is getting hairy. This is getting hard. Yes, life's getting in the way. Vows are the hardest when life happens, when stuff gets in the way. It's easy to say yes in the beginning. It's easy to make the promises. It's hard to keep them. That's always the challenge, where the rubber meets the road. So we have choice. Am I in it to win it? Win it. Because nobody's keeping score but you. Only you will know whether or not you really gave yourself to this. You know, of the couples that scrapped it, sometimes a week or two in, some of them said, I know I gave it my all, and I'm done. I don't think it's going to work. And there may be some of you here, some of you who are listening, who are in a marriage or a relationship that you've committed to, and there were days when you thought, I think it's time to walk away, and you stayed anyway, and you recommitted, and you say, I'm going to do this, and you say, I'm going to make it work. I made a promise. I made a vow. This matters. I'll do whatever it takes to make it work. I'll do whatever it takes to make it work. This is about the time, 15 days in, where we get to make that choice. Really, really, really make the choice. Do I walk away or do I recommit? Do I let 1 day or 2 days of not doing it, do I let that tell me it's time to throw in the towel? Or is it that important to who I am, to my spiritual development, to my relationship with the divine, to the God of your understanding, to stay in? To stay in. It's so easy to say I'm on the path when you're just running around in the grass, laying in the dirt. I'm on the path, I'm on the path, I'm so enlightened. I'm so spiritual. I've said it, I've done it. It's so easy to say it. It's so different to stay on the path. You wander off a bit, you come back. You fall down, you get up. You mess it up, you clean it up. Right? You get to choose. Nobody's going to point fingers if you don't do it. You're the one who gets to live with it. Yeah. It's all about you. How many times do you get to say that? It's all about me. Yeah. I remember the day, probably somewhere in my 50s, where I realized that there were a lot of things that I ran from because I was scared, or I didn't think I could hang in there, or I didn't think it mattered, or it was, it's only a commitment to me. Nobody knows about it but me. Who's going to know? And I think I had said that to myself enough times that suddenly it was not good enough anymore. And I said, I will not break promises to myself anymore. I will not run anymore. I'm sick of running, sick of breaking promises to myself. I'm done with that. And like my friend Dottie Gandy has always said, up until now I've been one who ran for my commitments. Up until now I was somebody who broke promises to myself. Up until now I was someone who was okay with living in denial. Yeah. Up until now, that's her phrase. Up until now. Today's different. Day 15 is going to be different. I'm in. And maybe this is going to be my day 1. Maybe I'm starting over. Maybe I'm starting with new commitment. Maybe I'm going to be more bold in this. I'm in it. I'm in it. I'm in it. I'm in it. So we get to choose, folks. This is the journey. Hang in there. Know who you are. Decide what's going to happen. We still love you no matter what you choose. No matter what you choose. And most of us, unless you tell us, we wouldn't know whether or not you decided to do it. What matters is you. Your heart. Your level of commitment to yourself. To your spiritual development. To being on the path. To walking the talk. Your integrity. Does it matter? You get to choose. And remember, we love you no matter what you choose. You are loved, you are perfect, you are whole, you are complete, you are divine no matter what you choose. It's up to you. It's up to you. Let's take this into meditation. Let's sit with this word, choice. The power to choose. Power of will is the executive power within us that makes the decisions for our lives, that enables us to know what is right for us. Do I stay or do I go? Am I in or am I out? What's right for me? Choice. We get to create our existence, our experience of life. We can plant seeds. Nurture them. Dedicate ourselves to our growth every day, every moment. Do we recommit? Do we keep the vow? Make good on the promise. Choice. We are masters of our universe. Masters of our universe. Dominion over thoughts, words, and actions. With the power of order, we get to prioritize, put things in place. We can be flexible and shift. We are order. We are strength. and power. Able to continue walking the path no matter what runs in front of us, no matter what shows up to trip us up. We can stay on the path. We can be steadfast. Steadfast. Strong. Able to persist. Able to adjust. To call in all of our faculties. Our divine faculties, our divine powers, to stay the course or shift the course as needed. All of this power is closer than at your fingertips. You have merely to claim it and make it so. Claim it and make it so. And in your heart of hearts right now, repeat to yourself, I have dominion over my thoughts, words, and actions. I have dominion over my thoughts, words, and actions. I am steadfast. I am strong. I am persistence. I am power. I am deeply rooted. Able to withstand the storm. Choice. There's always a choice. Always a choice. Always a choice. Let's breathe in together. Choosing now to breathe in life and exhaling life. Breathing in again. One breath, one life, one humanity, one people, one love. Keep breathing. And when life gets rough, take a breath. Breathe in life. Breathe in strength. Breathe in power. Just breathe. Just breathe. And let's be in the silence for just a bit. so it is, and so it shall be. Amen. And so while we're in this meditative state, let's now call out the names of those for whom we want to pray. For Vicky. Jerry. Calvin. For the Thomas family, for Vicky's family, for Reba and Eddie, for Harper and her parents and all those who love her. For Pete and Dia, Deborah, for Tony and Nick, and Lucille, for PJ and for Melinda. And so for all of those named, and for all of those who are unnamed in this moment, but who are certainly in our hearts and in our minds as we go through our daily living, we know that they are whole, perfect, and complete, and their highest and best is now at work in their lives. And the perfect resolution is now being worked in their lives. And they are finding peace in the moment. Peace, peace, peace. And now let's prepare for our celebration of giving together. Divine love, as me, blesses and multiplies all the good that I am and have, all the good that I give and receive, and so it is.
You may wonder what your world is coming to, with all the ups and downs that you've been through. But there's more than the eye can see. There's the truth in your divinity. So be still and know all is well. All is well, all is well. Be still and know all is well.
are deeply grateful for all the time, treasure, and talent that flows into this community, that helps it to thrive and helps us to do our perfect work that we are called to do. Amen. So just a few announcements. So remember, we have the private groups both on Meetup and Insight Timer, and again on Facebook for the 100 Days Journey to the Secret Place. Today is the fourth Sunday, and so at 12:30 we'll have our Zoom discussion. The link is at the top of our Facebook page if you need it there. It is also on the Meetup, on our website. We're still doing our weekly Zoom meetings, 6:30 p.m. on Tuesdays and 11 a.m. on Saturdays. Those links are in Meetup and on Facebook. So join us for discussion. We've had some great discussions about consciousness and meditation and how to make it work and ideas, and it's really great. We've also started now to have a short period of meditation together at the end of each hour. So join us for that. Yoga is continuing in person, 6:30 to 7:30 with social distancing protocols in place. It's a wonderful, wonderful class. Jennifer Haley is a wonderful teacher. So come join us. And if you're new to yoga or you can't handle being on the floor, you're not that flexible, she can adjust any of the things that we're doing if you need to do it from a chair or something like that. So don't be afraid of it if it's not something you feel you can do on the floor on a mat. So if you need it from a chair, Jennifer can help you with that. So come try it. It's wonderful. And we had an organ for many years that was donated to us. And one of the challenges was first of all, we didn't have someone to play it. And it just kind of sat here in the front of our sanctuary for years. Well, our board president was able to find someone who was willing to, who needed an organ, didn't have a music ministry because they didn't have instrumentation. So now that has now been given to a church here in the Dallas area who has someone who's just so talented, who can just play the devil out of that thing. And it's just a wonderful thing. They did not have a music ministry before, so we have opened the door for another congregation, which just really makes my heart sing right now. So thank you, Fred, for making that work. Absolutely. So we have more space and things are more open here, and we're open to what our next thing is for music. And I'm just very, very glad that that organ now is going to be able to be played to its fullest by someone who's just really very, very talented. So blessings to the congregation that now has that beautiful instrument. So let's go to our, yes. Oh, I'll ask about that. I did ask for them to let us know if they have a concert or something like that we would like to go. I would love to be able to hear that played, especially in a space that could handle the size of that instrument. Yeah. Yeah, it's just an incredible thing. So they are going to let us know when to do that, and we'll go and make that happen. Yeah, absolutely. But I'll ask them for a video too. That's a great suggestion. Thank you. Prayer for protection, sir. Let's recite together. The light of God surrounds us. The love of God holds us. The power of God protects us. The presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well. And now let's recite together our vision affirmation for our community. Together, we are a growing, thriving spiritual community. We are stepping more fully into our innate divinity and earnestly expressing our I am nature each day. We give freely, generously, and lovingly to the places where we receive our spiritual food, and we are manifesting overflowing abundance in every area of our lives like never before. Our collective energy is a positive magnetic force that attracts spiritual seekers to our center every week, and our Sunday services and events are now filled to capacity. We are peace, we are prosperity, we are joy, we are love, we are unity, Spiritual Center Saxe. Thank you for spending your Sunday morning with us. Have a glorious week. Namaste.